So as you guys see from the title of the video, James Harden has been traded to the 76ers. Man, this is exciting. The NBA trade deadline as a whole was absolutely amazing. We're going to go through 4 trades right now. In my opinion, the 4 biggest trades, the trades that can have a huge impact on the NBA as we know. But of course, before I get into this video, I want you to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. You guys help me out a little bit. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. Now, of course, you guys all know the trade we're going to start off with. The trade that's literally discussed in the title of the video. The Nets trading James Harden to the 76ers for Ben Simmons. Man, this was a huge trade. Of course, going to get into the details. The Philadelphia 76ers will receive James Harden and Paul Millsap as part of the package. And the Brooklyn Nets will receive Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, a 2022 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2027 protected first-round pick. I think both of these teams have won in terms of this trade. I think the Brooklyn Nets got a very stable and very good guy and a good defender in Ben Simmons, a guy that they really needed, because the Nets, if you didn't know, they were seriously lacking perimeter defense. They were lacking defense as a whole. I think Ben Simmons provides that. I also think Andre Drummond can provide a super solid rebounder and a pretty good interior defender. Seth Curry is just another shooter. They have been missing Joe Harris for a huge part of the year, so I believe Seth Curry is there to shoot the basketball. And of course, the picks, Brooklyn, they get 2 very good picks. I'm really glad about that, especially how they lost a lot of picks trying to trade for James Harden just a year ago. Philadelphia, man, I know Joel Embiid is smiling so hard right now. Joel Embiid has to be a very happy camper. You have traded somebody who didn't fit into the system of trying to surround Joel Embiid with talent to a guy in James Harden who completely fits the mold in what Joel Embiid needs to succeed. And I think James Harden is also going to get some success from having a guy on the inside. I really think this trade works out for both teams. I believe there's no winner to this trade. I think this trade works out equally for both teams. I'm really glad about this. I think the Nets and the 76ers are both in for huge playoff runs if they don't disappoint. Of course, getting rid of things like injury and stuff like that. Now, going to our next trade, in my opinion, the second most important trade of the day, we have Kristaps Porzingis going to the Washington Wizards. Now, I know what you're saying. This was a pretty unexpected trade, in my opinion. I didn't expect Kristaps Porzingis to be traded. However, when looking in hindsight, when looking back at things, seeing that Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic, the 2 best players of the team, the 2 supposed cornerstones for the next couple of years for the Mavericks, did not have the world's greatest relationship, you can easily see why this trade happened. Now, of course, the Dallas Mavericks, going to the discussion, they get Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. I think both of those guys are really good for the Dallas Mavericks. I feel like both of those guys fit the mold into surrounding Luka Doncic with the talent he needs. Davis Bertans, a very great shooter. Luka Doncic, we all know, thrives with great shooters around him. I mean, that's a hint to Trey Burke, that's a hint to Jalen Brunson, even more players. He thrives with that. Of course, Spencer Dinwiddie, he can be that second combo guard that can kind of take away some of the defensive responsibilities that Luka Doncic can't quite handle, as he's not a great defensive player and not the world's best defensive player. Now, of course, going to the Wizards side of things, the Washington Wizards, they received Kristaps Porzingis and a future second-round pick. They did make room for Porzingis in another trade earlier today. I'm going to get into that trade later. However, Kristaps Porzingis, I think the Washington Wizards are a pretty good place for him. He needed a very fresh start. Future second-round pick, definitely needed. I don't know if this is going to have a huge impact on the future, however, probably be used for a trade in the future with the Washington Wizards. However, Kristaps Porzingis needed a fresh start. I'm really glad he got traded. They made room for him in the next trade we're going to talk about right now, though, and this next trade is involving Montrezl Harrell. Man, was this trade really interesting, and I'm really shocked that this trade honestly went down. Montrezl Harrell has been playing very good as a Washington Wizard, but the Wizards had to make some room. Harrell goes to the Hornets. Now, of course, the Charlotte Hornets, they get Montrezl Harrell, and the Washington Wizards in return get Ish Smith and Vernon Carey. Now, I think the Charlotte Hornets definitely won this trade. I think they got way more in return than what they gave up, in my opinion. However, it looks like the Washington Wizards are trying to enter rebuild mode, and I know that's kind of confusing considering that they do have Kristaps Porzingis, but I just don't see the Wizards trying to contend. Of course, Bradley Beal is going to be out for an extended period of time. There's rumors saying that he's going to be traded during the offseason. He's injured as of right now. Of course, Ish Smith and Vernon Carey, they're 2 guys that you can't really build around. Ish Smith's kind of older. Vernon Carey is a developing big man. And of course, Montrezl Harrell was one of the dudes that was keeping this team competitive and keeping them atop or at least near fighting for a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. They just traded him away. So I think the Hornets, they're definitely entering a huge phase, trying to really push their way into the playoffs, while the Washington Wizards are entering a rebuilding phase. Now, of course, going into the last trade, and probably, in my opinion, low-key, maybe the most important trade of the day, the Kings trading Marvin Bagley to the Pistons. Now, this is a huge trade. This trade involves 3 different teams. We're going to get first into the Detroit Pistons. They only got Marvin Bagley via the Sacramento Kings. LA Clippers, the second team involved in this trade. They get Semi Ojeleye and Rodney Hood. And, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks. They receive Serge Ibaka, a guy who I think is going to be huge for this rotation. And, of course, 2 future second-round picks along with cash considerations. The winner of this trade, I believe, the Milwaukee Bucks without a doubt. Serge Ibaka is going to take some of those minutes away from Giannis, so Giannis won't have to play all the defense and all the minutes for the team. And, of course, the LA Clippers also got a pretty good trade. It's clear that the Clippers' motive is to try and build a semi-sort of contender around the mold because, let's face it, their 2 superstars are probably going to be out for the season. The LA Clippers, they're not specifically looking to rebuild. Of course, Kawhi Leonard has signed a pretty big contract earlier in the past offseason, so I definitely think the Clippers are definitely looking to build a contender and wait until next year. However, as far as the other 2 teams go, the Detroit Pistons in 3 to 5 years can be a very, very competitive and good NBA team. While the Milwaukee Bucks, who already know they're contending, I think Serge Ibaka is great for this team. But, of course, that's going to put an end to this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe. TikTok, Spotify, audio podcast, all those links will be in the description. Make sure to like, subscribe to those. However, whether you do or not, whether you choose to like, subscribe, or even watch, I wish that you stay loved and stay blessed. And without further ado, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching.